The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Thex 9 of the Zephyrian Collective delivered what they believed to be the final ultimatum. The crystalline being's voice resonated through the vast dome, its words translated into 100 languages for the representatives of the galaxy's most powerful civilizations. The terms are non-negotiable, Thex 9 declared, its form shimmering with satisfied authority. Humanity will surrender 70% of their colonial worlds. Their military fleet will be reduced to a mere defensive force. Their expansion into the outer rim sectors will cease immediately. In return, we offer them the privilege of continued existence under our protection. Murmurs of approval rippled through the assembled delegates. The Korthani Empire's representatives clicked their mandibles in satisfaction. The ethereal Voidwalkers hummed their ancient songs of conquest. Even the typically neutral Centauran Federation nodded their elongated heads in agreement. At the human delegation table, 3 figures sat in apparent defeat. Admiral Chen stared at his hands, weathered from decades of service. Ambassador Martinez shuffled through papers with trembling fingers. Between them sat Commander Elena Vasquez, seemingly the youngest and least significant member of their party. These terms, Ambassador Martinez spoke finally, his voice cracking with exhaustion, would effectively end human civilization as we know it. Surely there must be room for negotiation. There is none, interrupted Prime Chancellor Vextai of the Korthani Empire. Your species has expanded too quickly, consumed too many resources. You are a plague upon the galaxy, and we offer you the mercy of controlled containment. The insults continued for another hour. The humans were called savages, barbarians, a cancer upon civilized space. Each word was carefully chosen, designed to break their spirit and force capitulation. The other species had done this before, to the peaceful Altarians, who now served as laborers in Zephyrian crystal mines, and to the proud warrior poets of Kepler 442b, who had become nothing more than living museums of their former glory. Throughout it all, Commander Vasquez remained silent, her dark eyes moving slowly around the chamber, cataloging every delegate, every guard, every exit. Those who bothered to notice her might have mistaken her stillness for shock or fear. They would have been catastrophically wrong. Admiral Chen cleared his throat. Perhaps if we could discuss the timeline for silence. Thex 9's crystalline form flared with violent light. You will sign the accords of submission within the next solar hour, or we will take what we demand by force. Your pathetic fleet of 1,200 ships cannot stand against our combined might of over 50,000 vessels. That was when Commander Elena Vasquez finally moved. She stood slowly, deliberately, her chair scraping against the polished floor with a sound that seemed to echo through the enormous chamber. Every eye turned to her, this unremarkable human female who had said nothing during 3 days of negotiations. Commander Vasquez, Ambassador Martinez whispered urgently, "Please sit down." But Elena Vasquez remained standing. When she spoke, her voice carried clearly to every corner of the chamber, calm and measured, with the precise diction of someone who had spent years addressing troops before battle. "You seem to be operating under a fundamental misunderstanding," she said. Thex 9's form pulsed with amusement. "And what misunderstanding is that, little human? You believe we came here to surrender." The silence that followed was different from before. Where there had been anticipation, now there was confusion. Where there had been certainty, doubt began to creep in. Commander Vasquez continued, her hands clasped behind her back in a parade rest position that those familiar with human military protocol would have recognized immediately. "You counted our ships, 1,200 as you said, but you failed to ask the right question." "And what question is that?" Prime Chancellor Vextai demanded. "You should have asked why we only brought 1,200 ships to a peace negotiation." Admiral Chen and Ambassador Martinez exchanged glances. This was not part of the plan they had discussed. Or rather, it was not part of the plan they had been told about. "Humanity has been preparing for this day since we first encountered your Galactic Council 50 years ago," Vasquez continued. "We watched how you treated the Altarians. We studied your conquest of the Keplerians. We learned from your mistakes and adapted to your strengths." She began walking toward the center of the chamber, her footsteps echoing in the growing silence. "While you were counting our visible fleet, you failed to notice the invisible one. Right now, cloaked human vessels surround every major world of every species in this chamber. They have been in position for 6 months. Panic began to ripple through the assembled delegates. Several species were reaching for communication devices. Others were frantically consulting with their military advisors. You see, Commander Vasquez said, stopping directly in front of Thex 9, humans have a saying, speak softly and carry a big stick. For 3 days we spoke softly. We listened to your demands, your insults, your threats. We allowed you to believe you held all the power. She smiled then, and it was not a pleasant expression, but humanity learned long ago that the most dangerous enemy is the one who lets you think you're winning right up until the moment you've already lost. The chamber erupted in chaos as communication. Reports began flooding in from across the galaxy. Human ships were indeed everywhere. Their advanced stealth technology finally revealed, their weapons powered and targeting every major military installation and government center of the Council species. The new terms are simple, Commander Vasquez announced over the growing panic. Humanity will expand as we see fit. We will govern our worlds as we choose, and the Galactic Council will recognize us as an equal partner, not a subject to be controlled. She paused, letting the weight of the moment settle, or we can discuss the alternative. Thex 9's crystalline form flickered with uncertainty. You would start a galactic war? No, Elena Vasquez replied calmly. We would end one before it began. The peace talks had indeed ended when she rose. But what began was not war. It was a new understanding of humanity's place in the galaxy, written not in submission but in the stars themselves.